Everyone, so much interesting information coming through. There's a lot about the dragon and rose lines, the Celtic cross as well, coming through in different ways. It's a beautiful day here. I hope you guys are all having a great day as well. It's kind of hot today, actually. Beautiful and sunny. Yeah, so much to bring you. So let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths. On the last video, I did get cut off right at the end. There was like a paragraph left for me to tell you, which I'll give you before I start the other reads. And then we'll go on to everything else, which was expanding on a lot of that stuff as well. We're going to roll the die. We'll pull some oracle cards at the end as well. So it's just really one main message of the day, along with my abbreviated twin flame read on the table. Let's go ahead and take those deep breaths. Deep breath. And send that energy wherever you'd like to heal. Go ahead and take another deep breath into your heart. Wrap it around your heart and let it diffuse out into your body, through your arms and legs, your crown, your toes, your hips, out into your etheric body, out into your home, into your car, your neighborhood, out to the state, the country, and the world if you wanted to, or perhaps sending it to one specific site. Go ahead and take one more deep breath. Sending lots of love. It's coming up in the upside down triangle as the earth and the sun and the moon. Sending lots of love to all three in the divine feminine energy. And again, the reference of the children, the sons and daughters, perhaps coming home. And that can be literal or a reference to something else. All right, so let's roll the die first, and then I'll give you that last paragraph. So we ended on, I was talking about Elena Danan's book, which I'll show you her book. I don't usually show you the cover, and again, there's lots of pictures of different ETs that she translates through her connection, Thorhan from the Pleiades. So again, lots of pictures in her book. She's translated in different languages as well, and I know she has newer books that have come out as well. But we were talking about, I had opened to the page 190, which had to do with the Nor, very significant. And that was, I went back to the beginning of the chapter, which was about Lyra, which is on 180. So again, the 18 and the 19 of the sun and the moon. And the Nor is the fifth planet. And again, very tall and strong musculature, blue-green or blue or gray eyes, blonde or reddish hair, and fair with very sensitive skin. And went into the other beings that were mentioned in the Pleiades, but here the red-haired giant was coming up as very significant because that'll come up again today, and that is the Nor. The Lan also came up, Laan, which came up from the Strait of Magellan, and the Lan is the feline features of the Lyran. So this last part that I got cut off from, I'll get into in just a second. Let me just go ahead and roll the die for the twin flames. We're pulling in Source Creator of all that is. Sophia, Sophia, Sophia. So it is. All right, so we have the 3, which is the Empress, which is also Taurus. The 3 is that energy of coming together, of happiness, of siblings, of the happy-go-lucky energy. Of course, Mother Nature comes up with that as well, and abundance. And we have Sagittarius here as well, so Taurus and Sagittarius. Or is that Mars? I'm sorry, I always get them confused. So this is Mars, actually, because this is the planetary die. So this is Mars, and Mars would be more Aries energy, but I always get Scorpio with that as well. Scorpio is more specific to Pluto, which is very deep and transformational, and we have Leo here as well. So Leo, Mars and Aries, which again, Aries has been in the spotlight since we're moving into that node in July, that north node, and we're leaving Taurus. So again, Taurus and Aries fighting for that spot right now, along with going into, we're in that energy of Lion's Gate, you know, heading towards that 8-8 gate and dealing with those two energies of the Empress and Mars, Mother Nature, and then the masculine energies, and then the child energy of Leo as well, but also the leadership qualities. Leo is fixed, and then Mars or Aries is cardinal, but also Scorpio could be coming up here as well. Actually, my Scorpio sun's coming home, probably will show up during this video. And Scorpio is fixed as well. So fixed and cardinal, and then Taurus is fixed as well. So there's a lot of fixed energy there. I don't know if something's stationing right now, as in that all that fixed energy coming together. That's a possibility. Let me just move my bowls off of the table for you guys. What else? Children, the mother and children coming up as well, and then the masculine in the middle, the monkey in the middle energy has been continually coming up as well. So this last paragraph, and the eggs, right? The eggs, the new eggs being hatched, perhaps a lot of new babies coming in. You know, we have a few in our family coming out in the next few months. And so the last paragraph, after talking about the sea car, you know, taking over the planet for the Lyrans, and then they all had to leave in gigantic arcs, otherwise they would have been destroyed. Besides Orion and Altair, the Mons system remains one of the most intricate nodes in the galactic diplomacy. Lyran is a very high vibration, according to Elena's book, a restless pull towards speed and adventure, which could definitely reference the masculine energy of the twins. Quite breathless, she describes it as, or a high hermetic vibe of spiritual wisdom, and uneasy to access if you can't tune in to their frequency rate. Okay, so there's this very much, I resonate with that, right? The speed demon kind of energy of the masculine, and then the hermiting of the feminine. And again, the this Lyran energy, and again, quite breathless is funny because I just talked about the aspire being your breath being taken away by source. There's something else that wanted to come up. I'm just trying to recall it because it just left my brain. Well, anyway, we talked about the 7 seals and the 7 trumpets that had come up, as well as the 7 chakras. Again, that Valentine's energy of 777, a major portal, since it is 777s this year, and the Japanese Valentine's Day is celebrated every year on the same day. Oh, my long guys just showed up. Hopefully they don't make too much noise. I do have the front door open. Should be okay with my mic on. So this was at 11:44, and the energy of the 11 of alignment and truth and balance, and the 44 of the 4 of cups, which is also that Herculean energy. That Herculean energy of her harvest. But also the 11:44 was highlighting the 14 in the middle, which is that temperance card, the angel, that higher love. And then the 14 came up right there regarding the 7 seals and 7 trumpets, again 7 and 7 being 14, and then the 7 chakra systems being 21. And I just told you also the 21's being raised an octave to the 24 of Omega, which is also an endpoint. The energy of Atlantis and Mahatma energy came up there with number 6. I had pulled into my Ascension deck there with Moria coming up, 44, and Mercury, the first ray of activity, the Manu and the perfected man, right? The root race of 12 strands, and leading by example, I stand in my power. And then Paul the Venetian came up, 37, which is the King of Cups and unconditional love, the 3 keys, again, the 3 sevens, the third ray of the arts, and the flame of liberty helps to set you free The Knight of Cups 39 then of Commander Ashtar, or that Ashtar command, the base of the intergalactic fleet. The mothership enters through Machu Picchu, a two-way portal, and then the energetic exchange of 34 in Saint Germain. And again, of course, you all know about the violet flame. And here the card associates that violet flame as well, and Saint Germain, with Archangel Zadkiel. The alchemist and the magician. I believe in my ability to create miracles. And then the 26 of the Page of Wands and the gold and silver cloak, and that can reference the gold and silver gates, right? The human gate and the golden god gates of harmony, balance, and drawing in angel sonics. So angel sounds, very high vibrational energies in order to purify. Expect the unexpected and the miraculous. And again, there's this energy from that card about leaving golden white footsteps wherever you go. The 12 rays pool, the golden and white, that's available to you now again from Atlantis and that Mahatma energy that we started with. All right. So we're going to do this last on the table. I want to get through everything else first. And this starts out with the energy deck. Okay, so I have the energy deck, and then the past life deck, the shaman deck, and then the wild unknown guidebook, and then the Rider-Waite, the complete deck at the bottom there. So I'm going to pull it up a little bit closer so you can see all the decks. To the left is the underlying energies. I usually pull 3 cards. Sometimes another will come out. And then the cards at the end are all cards that still want to come out organically. And then I incorporate them numerologically as well as to complete the story. I was just guided to my pyramid that you see straight ahead, and there's like a black moon sphere in there in the middle of it, and you see how there's light being shown on either side. It kind of looks like a molecule, you know, like of the black circle, and then two circles that are white around it. And there's that energy again of the upside down triangle of the divine feminine, and again the theme of the children that are an extension of you, like the gremlins, which will come up, right? When you gather so much light in yourself, it's like you can't take anymore, so your body bursts forth into another being. And there's a focus of the purple light here, right here in the middle, on the challenge card here, which this is King of Wands reversed, and this is the King of Cups upright. And the Queen of, these two I think are the ones that the light's on. Yeah, the Two of Pentacles reversed with the King of Wands is what's being highlighted right there. And we have the Queen of Wands upright on this side and the King of Cups upright on the other side of the King of Wands reverse. And remember, this is the year of the King of Wands, 2023, the wake-up call to master their passions. And again, that's that control of their passions. And that challenge card underneath it is the Queen of Cups as well. All right, so today is the 19th. We had the new moon yesterday, so we're in the grounded into the new moons today. And the first thing before I'd gotten into my read that I just showed you, I was guided to my kids' names again because of that bursting forth of our children energy, and again, pieces of yourself being birthed. And I told you that I'd looked up my kids' names again, which of course I've done, you know, multiple times before since they were born, because I did numerology when they were born, so I made sure I liked their numbers before I named them. But Jenna means the lamb. And in my Wild Unknown Tarot, the lamb is the target, right? That sweet, innocent lamb. But it also means the echo, and Yahweh is gracious. The echo of 1 and 9, but also the number 4, which keeps coming up as the lambda leap to source and back before you start over again. The 1 and the 9, of course, is the one and the all. The I, the we, the small garden, and to be, now and not ever. So again, both sides of the coin. And then the masculine, so my kids representing the masculine and feminine, or the daughter and the son here, as she was coming up as the lamb, and then the masculine comes up perhaps as the dog, right? Man's best friend, but are they woman's best friend? And remember that Matt and Jenna, the lamb is the target, but the mat is something that gets walked on. Stands as a moral example, Matthew, and let his queen shine all of her shapes and colors. And here's that energy of the checkmate spectrum, right? And we talked about that with the Queen's Gambit, where the queen comes face to face with the king, and then they both melt when they're right in front of each other, as he then carries her over the threshold. And there's that Hieros Gamos energy. So the Queen's Gambit, or game bit, to hit the hero's game of Hieros Gamos. And again, this is, changing sides, because the queen's coming from the other side, the other family, the other king. Sorry, just be for a second, and they'll be gone from the front door. So she's coming from her king, coming across to meet the other king face to face, right? The two families coming together, so to speak, or changing sides, becoming who you truly are, and taking that risk of the Queen's Gambit, which is putting your, that pawn, that piece of yourself, which can represent your child as well, forward, or perhaps as a sacrifice, a payment, to kind of knock them off guard so that you can get in there and face the king, checkmate. So those are the energies that first came up, and then the energy deck was pulled at 1034, which is that 8 of Wands, the energetic exchange, and the 10, of course, is the Wheel of Fortune, with the 35 of the Wounded Warrior, the 36 of Atlas and the Weight of the World, the 38 of the Queen of Cups, and the 39 of the Knight of Cups then came up with the other decks. The cards at the ends came up 2 ways, all ones, so 5 ones, 1 1 1 1 1, and then 6 2 2 3 2. And there's that energy again of the way we write 4 ones, and then the 5th we draw a line across. I was getting set complete, and again checkmate. The twin flame leap, the alignment with co-creation, the lover's leap of faith on the journey, the fool with an open heart, and the journeyman with good news. The release of the King of Wands into her loving arms in the twin flame tower to 232, which is that energy of the heartbeat again. Remember the even to the lightening up, and then the even but without the waterfall, without dipping down. Going, and 232 is also to new hope. The twin flame epiphany of the fool's journey to 2 and then to 3, which is 23, the King of Wands this year, and the leap of faith with an open heart. The spiral heart to the King of Wands and his queen, which is flipping the 23 to the 32, which the 32 also came up in the messages today as how many petals there are in the rose, 32 petals. And that was referencing, I think, the pillars in Rosslyn Chapel. The twin towers of hope, the fool and the victor, keeping the bridge open, as the fool with an open-hearted welcome, and the victor on the other side of the bridge to lead the way, or in other words, the tour guide, once you get to the other side. The underlying energy of the 46 and the thinking man, and the trees coming up here. So here's that energy of the crucifixion card in the Mary Magdalene deck too, which came up for me when I was in the south of France. I don't actually have that deck. But the 46 of the inner children and the thinking man being curious about his inner child mission. The trees, again, of the sun coming through the trees, the canopy, and the energy of my message in the south of France, which was from Jesus when we were meditating under the Cathar's Castle, to look, and it was his perspective from the cross. Look to the sun and to the butterflies, and why would you keep your eyes closed when there's all of this to see? The 54 of the Page of Swords and the crossing, the word cross came up very significantly today. The initiation, while the crocodile lay in wait to take down their lunch, to end their pain, and roll with the punches. So when the crocodile's here waiting to take down their lunch, I'm talking about, the crocodiles, that's their lunch, the person they're waiting to eat. to end their pain once and for all, right, to get it over with and roll with the punches. Again, that reference to the crocodile rolling someone to death. The 10 iron crosses, as in that 10 of swords, the 64, from the innocence of the thinking man to ending all thoughts, crosses, and pain. And remember I talked about the iron cross coming up in my back the other day, and that's a reference to the sword, which is an iron cross. The jaws of life coming up here as well, after crossing the bridge. The fool is the one who leaps off the cliff. The journeyman is him, victorious on the other side, right? He makes this leap and he makes it. Whether hung on a cross or being wrestled to the ground. The sun is the question or the question mark in the heart, and the rain is the answer. May the rain of blessings fall. The spark that lights the heart triggers tears of joy. Once you get past the need to release all that pain or that pain in the ass, love rain on me, and again the who coming up, and there's that question mark again, which is actually to reign over me, the title of the song. The loving children, perhaps hugging and curious under a tree in the sun, which we all were at the Cather's Castle, having lunch under a tree, bridging with the crocodile, and the 10 of swords, paralyzation of the spine and the chakra system. And again, talking about being in France and the Cathars, which were taken down by the Catholics in the year I was there, in 17, I believe it was the first time the Catholic Church had made an apology to the Cathars for that event. So it was very interesting that I happened to be there at that time. The 10 of swords is the 10 iron crosses, or the swords, and the energy of the right hip and wing and SI joints. So again, the hip section of the SI joints in the hips and the wings, as well as the left ear coming up here, was facing up. And there was very much this energy of the cervical 7 spine, and then the L1, 2, and 3. And C7 is that whispering bench energy of the key, the gamma ray, the boomerang, and then the L1 of the lambda, leap, L and 1, but also the reference of the right angle of 1, 2, 3, and that leap to jump. At 11:11, so I tried that position, laying on my stomach with my head turned to the left, and my right arm was out, it's out and then down, so your hand is facing up because your elbow is bent down, but perpendicular to your shoulders. Straight out and then elbow bent down in a right angle, down, and then the left leg seemed to be forward and to stretch, or to just rest in that position in peace. So again, I'm not making any recommendations. If you're not able to move like that, please don't try that position. But if you're fully able and you want to, you can. It may feel really good for you to just stretch in that position. At 11:13 is the alignment and then death or transition of the 29 of the world, present to the gift as the 51 King of Swords, healer of the ages, the 23 of the King of Wands, who may be playing coy and all tied up, playing games, or Rapunzel, mastering her passions with charming healer. And healer may be mastering their thoughts and words in romance of the 6 of Cups, where she may be anxious and he in his head, or intellectualizing, thinking what could be, mixing work with play, with light and breath, and taking breath away. So at 11:18 again, Justice of Alignment and the 18 of Romance and the Moon, as we're in the new moon now, working up to the buck full moon on July 3rd. The one here is the 32, and again 32 coming up as the petals of the rose, and the door to spirit, which is also the journey, opening the door to clear the air. The 53 of the Magician and the Knight of Swords, Magician and the Mirror, and the 49 of the Angel of Love, the King of Swords and the King of Wands, and the inner children on the journey to the Magician, and I dream of Genie, granting your wish and theirs at the same time. And I'd also, when I'd taken a break that day, I was sitting on my chair and my bench seat out there, and the shadow of the the pattern on the back of the seat came up, and it was showing me this pattern right here with kind of two lines on either side like that. But they were getting me to unravel this. So it unravels in two ways, right? So if you pull the arrows straight, you're going to get those points left, but these circles, and then becomes the 8. And then if you literally unwrap it like that way and unfold it, it becomes the eye or the almond shape. So very specific, the diamond is the two almonds or the two worlds. And again, the 8, of course, representing the masculine and feminine, each in an 8 dancing side by side with their own masculine and feminine, and then becoming the infinity symbol on its side in the middle when they come together. And then sharing the middle section, but still being independent on the outside. And the two halves of the moon, so to speak. So the 36 is the Atlas energy, that 10 of Wands, and the map of intent of the second chakra and Archangel Ariel, two angels happy with the Atlan? I don't know if I was writing the altar or Atlantis. The second chakra of Archangel Ariel, two angels happy, coming together with the man with the coin and the hermit's heart, the 37 King of Cups of light, and the third chakra, Archangel Chamuel, as the 36 and 37 together here is the energy of the number 2 and number 3, right, of the chakra system, the sacral and the solar plexus, which again is 23, the King of Wands, and directions for unconditional love, which, you know, the sacral and the solar plexus lead to the heart. With the 10 of the storm warning and the 20 of the angel of strength, 9, 10 begin again, with Virgo and Libra here, perhaps Pisces and Scorpio, and Magician's Knights of her round table, the king and his lioness, checkmate, or facing the queen after the gambit, facing the enemy face to face, eye to eye, and then surrendering to the king who allows his queen to shine with all her shapes and colors. As the King of Cups carries the 10 of Cups matriarch over the threshold to the other side, as Mr. Big gets quote-unquote carried away with the Queen's Gambit and transforms it into Heroes Gamos, or his Heroes Games. At 11:33 is the underlying energy of the vows of young maidens here. And again, the past life deck is about our past life wounds that still haven't cleared, or maybe need to clear another layer for you. The vows of young maidens here, made long ago, as the carpenter places the final leg in place for the proper fourth quarter footing or peg, as us, of course, Pegasus, of course, Mr. Ed, as he finishes a whispering bench for the brand new ship coming in that's all white and matte, yet shining from within, not superficially reflecting on the outside, as the authority figures with sparkly gavels lay down the Neanderthal Celtic laws, the iron Celtic cross. So, of course, I had to look up the Celtic cross, and it was representative of the military in the Kingdom of Prussia. So again, all around Germany and then Nazi Germany in World War II and all that, and World War I. Black with white or silver outline of the Celtic cross from medieval Teutonic order, worn by the knights from the 13th century as well, prior to Prussia and Germany, and is now the emblem of the Bundeswehr, modern German armed forces, so it's literally their armed forces symbol. King Frederick William III of Prussia established an award on March 17, 1813, during the Napoleonic Wars, and actually backdated the date to 310, or March 10th, because that was the date of birth of his late wife, Queen Louise, and she was then the first to receive this award of the Celtic cross. When the quadriga of the goddess of peace was retrieved from Paris at Napoleon's fall, it was reestablished atop Berlin's Brandenburg Gate, the Iron Cross inserted into the piece's laurel wreath as the goddess of victory. And again, we were talking about victory already before this, coming across the bridge and being victorious in that leap. In 1821, Schinkel crowned his design of national monument for the liberation wars with an iron cross, becoming the name giving as Kreisberg, which means cross mountain. Okay, so cross and mountain. And 100 years later, for the homonymous quarter adjacent to it, World War I cross had the 1914 stamped on it, and World War II had 1939 stamped on it. And if you won both awards from 1914 and 39, you got an eagle with the date 1939, which was pinned to the uniform above the original one, and some of the soldiers had actually soldered them together. And there were some of these crosses handed out to people you wouldn't think, there were some Jews who received them, and Muslims or people outside the Nazi party who actually received some of these awards. It's said in the information here, and I believe this was just Wikipedia here, that the Jews did not accept the crosses, the few that were given them. There's very few, just a few. The Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross for valor and successful leadership as well. The Prussian energy was 1525 to 1947, the German Protestant energies, and there were different awards that were given. One was a cross with oak leaves, and then another one with oak leaves and swords, and then only 27 were given with diamonds, and only one was given with gold and oak leaves, swords, and diamonds, and that was Oberst Hans Ehrlich Rudel. And the cross was actually 44 millimeters. So very interesting, her cross. So the women of those vows, going back to the cards, of biblical and battleships being built and authorized. New white ships now authorized, and the white hats were coming up, by sparkling gavel of two toruses coming together. And I've talked about this before when I'd done a technical drawing of the two torus fields coming together. They look like Easter eggs opened up around a Celtic cross. And I'll show you a picture of some of the drawings I did as well. But the energy of this sparkly gavel, right, of positive energy behind that gavel with the sparkles, with two toruses together equaling the Easter eggs and the Celtic cross, blocking the Prussian war doors by Neanderthal man Stargate, which then references Ireland, which is where those ruins are of the cross with the Jesus on it that looks like a Neanderthal man. So JC was showing me his Neanderthal Celtic origins, the cross being the marker where the stargates are crossed, the grid points where the stargates were. And again, Magenta was talking about how the stargates may not be right at Rosslyn, but around or near Rosslyn. So in Rosslyn, the founder, Sir William St. Clair, and again later Sinclair, and the town is called Rosslyn. It's just still spelled differently, Roslin, whereas Rosslyn spelled the chapel, Rosslyn. It's about 7 miles from Edinburgh here, but then when I looked up how long it took, it was more like 40 minutes to an hour, so I don't know if that's correct. But the initial work started 1446, so there's that 46 energy of the inner children and outer children, right? The innocent ones as well. Like a kid in a candy store getting to build his dream. The third and final Prince of Orkney, and later Sinclair, and Norway here. He even fought with his cousin William the Conqueror. And again, this was coming up from BritishHeritage.com. So Rosslyn was intended to be a collegiate chapel of St. Matthew. The centerpiece, and again, bringing my son's name into it, and it's not referencing me per me, but again, as an example, so we can understand this process. The collegiate chapel of St. Matthew and the centerpiece of the educational system, which is what the original intent was for Rosslyn Chapel. He hired master masons at about 40, I don't know if that's lira or whatever money it was back then per year, and took 40 years to build. 1484 he died, but still wasn't finished. The most famous artwork in the chapel is the column of the apprentice pillar. The story was that the apprentice did work while the master is away, and then when he came back he was jealous, so he killed him in a fit of jealous rage. And there's another pictures or artwork in there literally representing this, of the grieving mother of the apprentice and the enraged master who did this. I got a big connection here at 1235 with St. Clair was allegedly the Grand Master of the Knights of Templar. His grandfather may actually have traveled to Newfoundland and Nova Scotia and Massachusetts. So there's a big trip. He had gotten permission to send all these ships to the Americas. And there's that energy again of the gavel, coming down and allowing them to adventure out. And then Rosslyn Glen is the area around Rosslyn Chapel, near the castle and the chapel, and also reference a secret garden there. And this was from CelticCompass.com. So the secret garden and the Holy Grail, yews and chestnut trees with healing properties, and the Celtic cross kept coming up regarding Scotland and the ancient Celtic lands. And then I actually know a Bothwell, so Bothwell came up too because there's a lot of Bothwell castle energy in Scotland as well. So the Bothwell Rosslyn Templars came up. And again, the Bothwell Castle and Collegiate Church, which are within an hour from Rosslyn Chapel. But Rosslyn is privately owned and the Bothwells publicly owned now. And one's east of Edinburgh, the Bothwell, and then the Rosslyn is south of Edinburgh. I believe it's south. And they're at the 55 degree line, 51 for Rosslyn Chapel, and then 3 degrees from the longitude. And then Bothwell is 55 again, so they're really close on that line, but then 4 degrees. So one's 3 degrees and one's 4 degrees from the longitudinal center line. But it's in St. Clair County. There's Illinois as well, the Bothwell Chapel, so that was kind of cracking me up. So there's the names being used again in other places like the United States. And so one of the shapes that came up from Rosslyn Chapel was this that I drew for whatever reason. Okay, it looks like the shoulders of a man. So from fbrt.org.uk, and again, major chills right here at 117, the leap to the 17 of the star or the healing of the Rosslyn Chapel and the Sinclairs and the glen around it and the river Esk, E-S-K, used to form the north end of the route to the Santiago de Compostela or St. James of Compostela in Spain. So here's this reference bringing Spain into this as well, as the Strait of Magellan had come up in the last message. So before the Sinclairs, or the St. Clairs, who became the Sinclairs after that, in the 11th century, the barony belonged to the family Rosslyn, R-O-S-K-E-L-Y-N. And so now L-Y-N was coming up big in the definitions here because Lynn can also mean like an Evelyn, little Eve, like it can reference little, but it also references the lightning or the lightning up and then the waterfall or the water falling down. And again, I told you on the last one, referencing that heartbeat spike. And K-E can reference the energy in the middle of the R-O-S, of the rose, and the line, and the energy in the middle, which was the original family name before the Sinclairs. So he with a reputation in the quadra of a portion of the true cross of Christ, holy or black rude, dark with age, had been encrusted in jewels and silver and gold relic that St. Margaret carried with her to Scotland. She was a Saxon princess. He was made guardian of the stone of destiny, i.e. the stone of Scone, upon which the Scottish kings were crowned, once Jacob's pillow was brought from the Holy Land up, or which Judaic kings, or messiahs, were once anointed. In turn, he was given lands of Rosslyn and the cross for his and his family's symbol. The Emprailed Cross, I think I wrote. So Rosslyn lies due south of Holyrood on a significant north-south energy line known as the Rose Line. Okay, so this is Rosslyn Chapel, very significant, which of course, you know, Scotland's above England, which also runs along the line. So Ross and Lynn come up as the two Celtic words meaning rocky promontory and waterfall or stream. Lynn also references the dragon associated with the Celtic goddess Bride or Bridget. All bubbly springs, streams, and lively rivers are her emblem, as also is the rose, which there's lots of interpretations for this, like the bride human soul, the bride of Christ's spirit, also seen as red rose and the blood of Christ, or the rose which blooms from the heart of the cross. Red is the universal color of life and love from ancient Egypt, and is the color of Ma or Ma'at, the truth, of Ma and son, which is Mason, the son of the truth, which that's also the mother and son. Red-blooded equals Rosslyn, and again, this is fbrt.org.uk. Sanskrit, in Sanskrit, Frya, F-R-Y-A, means free, but that means loving. The Brotherhood of Truth based on love, and again, the Knights of the Templar. The Rosslyn Glen has riverbanks and caves and castles and gardens around Rosslyn. Sorry about the noise. The Prince of Orkney, Earl of Rosslyn, Knight of the Cockle and Golden Fleece, 1410 to 1484, during the Scottish King James's 1, 2, and 3, and the south, and the, I guess the southern pillar of apprentices representing the left hand in intelligence, the north pillar of the Mason's right hand in the wisdom, or God, the north pillar, you know, handing to the apprentice, and then the middle pillar is the Earl's pillar, or the crown, with an 8-spoke mandala. The sun, the moon, and the stars equal the lights of the fourth day of creation. Okay, so there's 3, and then the fourth again. Prince Henry Sinclair, the first Jarl of Orkneys, the Holy Sinclair, he was the original one of 3, commissioned a fleet of 12 ships for the voyage of exploration to the New World, landing in Nova Scotia in 1398, and again then went south towards the eastern seaboard of the United States. The Coptic cross came up here too, which is an Ethiopian cross. And again, that Celtic cross, but instead of the tapered cross, it's more straight, and then it has the triangular, you know, Trinity energies on the end. So then I was trying to find that cross from the card I have, because I'd never been there. I didn't know what it was called. With Jesus on the cross that looks like Neanderthal man. And so that is the cross of scriptures, the Clonmacnoise monastery, which literally translates as son of carpenter, which is really funny, again, using my family to mimic that, because Matthew, my son, is the son of a carpenter. The River Shannon came up here. And the crossroads of the main Irish River, and the Esker Riada, which is the gravel that runs along it. And it was really saying it's easier to access it by boat than to drive into it, but you can. The new monastery being accessible. Of 17 churches, only 7 survived in ruins, 3 crosses and 2 round towers, and one of those towers is attached to a church. And right to the west of the cathedral, about 25 meters northwest from the southern cross, the original cross was about 977 centimeters by the shaft, I think, was 52 here, because they were saying in meters and centimeters. It's 3.92 meters, and then the arms were 1.43 meters, and then the shaft 52 centimeters. So from Athlone, the River Shannon by boat, and getting to this location, the ruins, and this was coming up from Ireland.com, Westmeath, round a bend, and then all of a sudden it comes upon you, the 6th century. Established by Saint, I don't know how they pronounce it, but Ciaran, Mac, Tsaor. So it's like a cross, and then Saor, which is Rosa. It's an anagram for Rosa and the cross. But that's what means the son of the carpenter. And so now we have Saint Clair and Saint Ciaran, which have very interesting meanings here, right? One being Scottish and one being Celt. And there's a whispering door there as well, talking about the whispering bench, where lepers there could still be seen by the priest, right? Because they could just stand at the door and be heard like a whispering bench. So there's a whispering door here. The vows to visit of the maidens here, the son of the carpenter. And that's funny too, because his dad looks like Jesus. He's always had the long hair with the ponytail. By the ship authorized by Jesus himself, the Neanderthal man and the crucifixion, the trees and the sun. Look to the sun and to the butterflies, and why would you close your eyes when there's all of this to see? And so St. Clair, Clair means clear, light, to call or to shout out and be clear. The carpenter with a new white pure ship to come in, ordered by the Neanderthal man, the monkey or the monk key in the middle, who sees the sun filtering through the trees. Okay, so it's crossing back to my message again, confirming, Jesus is confirming my message there. So then the cross came up, because cross isn't just cross, it's the ROS of the rose in the middle of the C and the S, which is Christos Sophia, but also Celtic and Scottish. The two lines of Christ and Mary Magdalene. The wheel of Christos Sophia and the pinwheel coming up here. And again, the energy of the Celtic cross with the circle behind it, but also the pinwheel, which is then the shutter or the eye as it turns around. And the Quebec fires were coming up as I was assessing this. The ROS, the ROS in the middle, which can represent just the rose, but it's also the Royal Order of the Scots. The Blondeau wheel, so here's the wheel again, Heathland roses and the red horse. Ginger, and again referencing the giants, the red giants of the Nore. Linseed, flaxseed, the wooded promontory, the moisture and rosemary, and the rock and stone keep coming up in different definitions as well. And the rock and stone came up today again, and I'll give that to you when I get there. But stone is the ST of the path or street of one. And the rock also comes up as the ROC of the rowing on the whispering bench. The deer, to boast and praise, and avalanches and landslides coming up here. The scratch in the skin, the cavity. Gnawed, eroded. The peninsula and the isthmus, which is that strip of land that connects two big land masses or divides two different seas. The heraldic charge. The flower and the rose, with rust and rice also coming up. So Rosslyn, for a time period there, was covered to let it dry out because the stones were so moist, and they're worried about it, falling apart more. But I don't believe it's up there anymore from the time period they were talking about. The pinwheel and the rose line coming up here, as Rosslyn being Little Ros, the Royal Order of Scots, the red horse, the rock and the stone, the landslide, the strip of land, the isthmus, and the Strait of Magellan and Gibraltar. The Ciaran or Ciaran, the Celtic, is the thigh bone the sciatic, hip, dark gray, gray-haired, whole, entire, complete, gloomy, depressed, and backwater, or like backpedal, but in the water, like reversed action of the oar. So what came up interesting too is that the Celtic ruins are from 545 AD, and we had just talked about Eve being 545. So again, there's referencing Eve to the Celtic energy here. And the leper, talking about the lepers too, that was one of the first past lives I'd seen my twin with me, was in a leper life. So here, that's all the Ireland site. So St. Clair, that clear energy, shouts out to come back as St. Ciaran, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, like I said, Mac Tisor, or that cross with the S-O-A-R, the anagram of rose. The energy of the waterfall and lightening up, Ireland being the son of the carpenter, the sea, and Scotland then being, right, the daughter of the S, or Sophia, the Christo-Sophia line of the Celtic and the Scots. And Sophia's oar came up with the Rosa. And again, that backpedaling, that retrograde motion of the spiral, and the use of water here, as opposed to very land-based in the Celtic area, although it's all along a river. The shout-out of the Sinclair, which then brought up the dinosaurs episodes, they were the Sinclairs, and his friend was Earl, the pillar, the middle, the crown. And remember, they chopped trees down. They're woodcutters. So the son of the carpenter, and the reference to Matthew, because Rosslyn was meant to be St. Matthew's, and depressed, that then it became something else, Rosslyn, where the Lynn is the dragon, the bride or Bridget of the stream or rivers, the ROS, which is both on rocky rivers and bubbly streams, so both sites. The Rosslyn, the rose, the dragon lies, and where the lines cross. The rose line middle of the Christo-Sophia of Celtic and Scottish. Again, the C and the S, and the parentheses of pairing of the C's. The Earl also equals the crown, which equals the middle here in the different definitions, and the ark of the heart, or the covenant with source. Okay. So Rosslyn and Roseline, and the landslides and straits of rocky places next to the water. The Celtic whispering bench and the Scots sine wave, or the Queen's wave. Mary, Queen of Scots, then came up. And so when I was first looking for, I was not just looking for Mary, Queen of Scots, but the Margaret that was associated with her. But the first Margaret Sinclair that came up was the Venerable Margaret Sinclair, who died when she was only 25 years old. And apparently she lived so much in that godlike energy that she was titled the Venerable by Pope Paul VI. So Margaret Sinclair was Scottish, and this was the reason I noticed it too, because the article is 9/18/2022, which is 9/18 is my birthday. And actually, when I opened this, my goodness, did her energy pop off the page? Like every hair on my body was standing on end in this really beautiful energy. And she was very young, but she had a very similar look to her than I do. It's kind of just those, very soft, rounded features. But she had a very innocent look to her. But major connect there, and it was 333, the annual pilgrimage of St. Patrick's, Edinburgh. And they were advertising this 9/18/2022, the 4:30 Holy Mass. She was born March 29th, 1900 in Edinburgh to Andrew and Elizabeth Sinclair. She was one out of 9 kids, and then passed away November 24th, 1925. And then they opened a National Margaret Sinclair Center in her name, Rosewell in Midlothian, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, and that's again Scotland. around Edinburgh. So 1446 is when Rosslyn Chapel was first being built. And the Saxon Princess Margaret came up earlier with the true cross of Christ that she had taken with her. Then Mary, Queen of Scots, also came up, which is 12/8/1542 to 2/8/1587. And then Margaret Tudor, 11/28/1489 to 10/18/1541, who's married to King James IV. Now, remember, there's King James's of Scotland, but also King James's of England here. Sinclair is connected to France, or thought to be, through the different St. Clair cities in France. But the DNA evidence had shown here that the Sinclairs of Rosslyn and Kincaids are fairly closely related, with more in common than actually with southwest England than with France. Also, hello, you can come in. Hi, sweetie. I'm actually recording right now, honey. So just go get yourself settled in, and I'll be done in a few minutes. Love you. He's so excited to see you. Okay. So again, the energy of the red-haired giants comes up, and the Lan of the feline energy related to Magellan. And also from the other day, the eagle is key came up as the EA Glee key, which is in German, gleich is equal. So at 4 o'clock on the dot here, with double zeros or source energy backing up the number 4 of the emperor, at 1542, Scottish throne went to Mary and became France's queen consort. And she never got the English crown, but she held both titles basically. She was executed by Queen Elizabeth I, 1587, who was her cousin. She was born 12/8/1542, West Lothian, Scotland. At 6 days, her father died, so then she automatically became queen. She was daughter of King James V and his second wife, Mary of Guise. Her grandfather was Henry VII, and Henry VIII was her uncle, her great uncle, and Elizabeth I was her cousin. Henry VIII made a bid for her control, because obviously she couldn't be queen as a 6-day-old, but her mother instead became her regent. She was betrothed to Henry VIII's son, Prince Edward, who became King Edward VI. Scottish Catholics objected because England, had separated from the Catholic Church. And when the match was annulled, England attacked Scotland and then she fled to France because her mother was French, and France and Scots still had a long alliance. So she was betrothed to 4 years a 4-year-old French heir. So Francis II, King of France, 1558, the eldest son of King Henry II in France. When Mary was crowned, she was both Queen of Scotland and France's queen consort. But then he died 1 year later from an ear infection, and she was widowed at age 18. This poor girl, she's been given all this power, and then difficult situations keep arising, of not her fault. She's just 18 now. 1565, she married her cousin Henry Stuart, the Earl of Darnley, and grandson of Margaret Tudor, which was infatuated, the marriage here infuriated Elizabeth Tudor and turned Mary's half-brother against her as well. 1566, they and the group of Protestant nobles murdered Mary's Italian secretary, stabbed 56 times while she stood there watching pregnant, and gave birth and then left her husband. He was then killed after an explosion outside Edinburgh, February 1567, and Mary's relation to that was unclear. They didn't know whether she was involved with that or not. In May 1567, Mary consented to marry James Hepburn, Earl of Bothwell, the main suspect in her husband's murder. He abducted her and held her captive in Dunbar Castle. This marriage was happened only 3 months after her husband's murder, so of course everyone was very suspect of her, and the Scots nobility rose against her. Bothwell went into exile and was arrested and then held until his death. July 1567, he abdicated the Scot throne in favor of her infant son, because then her son would take over the throne when he was old enough. So she was imprisoned in Lochleven Castle. June 19, 1566, birthed James VI of Scotland, and also James I of England, her only child. And this was by the crazy guy. So by 1561, Scotland had changed their religion from Catholic to Protestant, so now they're not getting along with the Catholic French. So now, raised in Catholic France, was an outsider. Her half-brother James, Earl of Moray, helped her rule in a ruling of religious tolerance. She never was able to claim her English throne, as 1558, Henry VIII's daughter, Elizabeth Tudor, became Queen Elizabeth I. And again, there's that energy of Margaret Tudor as a sister to Elizabeth Tudor, who became Elizabeth I following the death of her sister Mary. So 1568, and this is biography.com, she escaped the Scots, the Bothwell, and she did raise an army to try to get her crown, but was defeated and fled to England for protection from Queen Elizabeth I, her cousin, who then imprisoned her for 18 years. And notice the 18s that keep coming up. The English Catholics plotted to get Mary onto the throne by assassinating Elizabeth, but the letters were found or intercepted. In 1586, she was tried for treason and executed February 8th, 1587, in Fotheringhay Castle at 44 years old. Again, there's that 44 again. And buried in Peterborough Cathedral after her son became king, King James I of England. He then moved his mother's body to Westminster Abbey. All right, so here again is the bond between a mother and son that is unbreakable. At 4:49, the 46 comes up here with the thinking man in the trees, going back to the cards. The one of the male to female back to back, allowing their energy to resonate. 4 angels, as the son surpasses his father, a son's loyalty to his mother here, and the siblings' journey, having seen their parents differently, and all with different personalities and perspectives. The healer, the game player, the anxious one, and the curious or intellectual one. The carpenter, running a tight ship here, pure and clean, white, and laying down the law when necessary, as authority on Celtic trees and Neanderthal crosses, as the sun looks down through the canopy and or the stargates, and the son of the carpenter, the rays through the circle, under the hole here, at a grid point is all. So it's actually the window. So the sun, at the son of the carpenter, which was referencing the ruins in Ireland, the rays through the circle is the energy of the window and the hole, the stargate. So it's talking about that cross. But there was also, it looked like a circle of growth or bushes or something right in front of the entrance, but there was nothing in it. And I think there was something that used to be there, some kind of pit. So I don't know if that's what they were talking about. But again, they were saying that this through the circle, the window, the hole, at the grid point is all. And they were spelling it AWL, as in the hole maker. The carpenter, and a carpenter is the hole maker. The carpenter and his whispering bench. The C and the S of 2 ships in the night. And again, the Knights Templar. of this Celtic energy and the Scottish energy of Rosslyn Chapel. The Knights of the Round Table, or the grid points, connecting two lands, mountains, or dividing two seas. And again, there's that energy of the two seas, back to back, or front to front, right? So the parentheses is the pairing of the seas, but when the seas are flipped the other way, it's the toroidal field, the pairing of the seas. The arc and what sparks it. So we have the C and the S, right? The C of the whispering bench and the S of the sine wave that has both, right? The feminine energy holds both, where the masculine's more of just the masculine energy. The pairing of the C's, the arc and what sparks it, laying down the universal law with the monkey or monk key in the middle. Rose means to have risen already. And then letters from the card were coming up as S-A-C-T, like sacked, but B was in front of it. The energy of the nuance or aspect, the aspect of sacked or sacrificed, to be sacked was also, but SAC also means the UK, the law and historical, which just came up. The privilege of the lord of the manor, who holds courts and has the ability to try causes and impose fines, right, as the lord of the house. Sack, to be sacked. To be ironed or wrinkle-free, or tackled to the ground or kidnapped, fired by your own people. The burdens of ships to see the world, and layers of the law to control the others. And the intersection, the quantum entanglement here in bridging the two sides together to see the light shine through the trees of the ships and the gavels, that they were made of trees, when taking away their ability to shade you at 516. So again, there's the crossing of boundaries between families, but then the trees of our families, and then the ET families of ours. So there's all these different quantum entanglement of bridges to cross. The 5 of freedom and the 16 of the tower, and the canopy of trees to filter the light so that she can sit back to back and allow their energies to meld or resonate and tell a tale, to open to a page about the Knight of Swords, the Magician and the Mirror, and allowing you to travel without leaving the house. Reading to the kids about Merlin and the Mirror, or the Knight of Swords, or Father's messages while being filmed, and Father's healing hands energy all over the place as he clears the air on set. Or the story of the father and his 2 sweethearts, who are more interested in crystals or light and heartthrobs or love than paying attention to him. Perhaps he was always he was away a lot, and there's a disconnect with this father and his children, and again this can represent Source and his children. A bonding with the mother, though, when the parents disagreed, or brother and sister disagreeing about why mother and father are apart and what parts they played in that separation, or packing their bags and pushing the up button to the higher self and the angel of love to get your wish of self-happiness. And again, that energy of the right side up triangle of the 2 dots to the 1, and the space between the reverse triangle, or in other words, the hourglass, and then the space between the 2 points in the middle. Because remember, there's no actual solid lines, right? There's always space between everything. And again, clearing space at the waist. And again, that waist energy is right at the beginning of your lumbar spine. As the high priest or priestess are looking up to just take them there, going to the higher self for map of intent at 151 of the Magician, King of Swords, the Master Alchemist of the Divine Mason's Leap to Area 51, or the Pyramids and the fire in the belly, or the lessons and blessings as time ticks on, and ticking time bomb that's about to go off. At 151, which equals 9 before 2, or the hermit kneeling before 2, the source begging you to, right? Source humbling themselves to their children to see each other's view, please. At 541 of the Hierophant, the master of the hidden house, and the Holy Grail, I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. as Mary Magdalene anoints his feet. If mother and father, brother and sister, and the world would just look up with their eyes closed to see their higher self before opening their eyes to see the sun and the butterflies, the son's buttercup, the daughter's sunshine. Where LA was too much for the man. So he's leaving the life that he's come to know, to what he's left behind, to a simpler place in time, dreaming to be a star, but sold his car. I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. I'm just going to my world, his world. At 550 is the Hierophant and the Ten of Cups family, that dream of emotional fulfillment, and the underlying energy of the 13, of the dream thief and the refusal of the call, as the wicked witch and her monkeys drop the sleeping dust on the field, or putting their hand in the fishbowl in transition, with major changes here. The 53 of the Knight of Swords and the curious stranger with laser hands, with seals and hiding, there's that Heidi and seal reference there, tempted to dive into the spring before it gets too hot. The messenger of truth with stars in his eyes, the eye of the needle of intent, wasn't able to see past his channel at 555, right? Because like the horse, he's got his blinders on. The 555 of constant change. His vision of the Empress in the mushroom, the king and his consort, the benefactors of grace and generosity, as the 52 Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty, anchors the two worlds. She wandering between the realms, as the 54 Page of Swords is the crossing, the initiation, the Page of Swords of the messenger, the Knight of Swords with abundant dreams of the Queen of Swords, and building a bridge, with Scorpio and Taurus, Aquarius, Libra, Pisces, and Cancer here, the Knight of Swords with the Empress, the Queen of Swords, and the Page of Swords, perhaps crossing the bridge into the deep quiet of meditation and stillness, aligning with truth and balance to be whole, complete. The first breath of the beginner's mind, as the woodwives adapt to the pain and the bliss, because they're more flexible than the trunk, which is fixed. At 608, which is the lovers and the dance with space between, and again I'm getting the hourglass again with the space in the middle at the waist. The 23 of the King of Wands, or 2023, and fortune's wheel of luck and right timing. The 7 of the Covenant, the key and the gamma ray, the boomerang, the sacred contract within, to boom, E-rang, in the lurch no longer, in the arc of the covenant, the ROS, R-O-S, between the C and the S, which is the cross, or the C's and the S's, the Celtics and the Scots, and the Christa Sophia, and the parentheses, or pairing of the C's, and the antithesis of anti the C's, the theses of both of them, of the parent and the anti, to babysit perhaps. The ROS, R-O-S, is the isthmus strip of natural land that connects two messengers, and divides two seas. And again, the messengers are the land masses, and divides two seas. The bridge between the two pillars that in the spring becomes the rose. That which, and that can reference the wicked witch of the West as well, that which has risen, and warlock, they wore the lock out, but also the warlock out, to open their heart and dive right in with a spring in their step, or hot copper coils of crystal and resin to neutralize, or bridge, there's the bride again, to bridge and be Swiss and cheesy, as we get to write our own script here. And then the song Unwritten comes up at 6:21, the lover's completion. The underlying energy of the gazelle and the dear one, or Georgia Zell, a peachy egg with zeal to grant the dear one scorpion with triggering tail to reflecting swans, or charging Swan Lake with just dipping a toe in concert, a swarm, a wound or accident, an event, and tempted as the oyster. Oh, and And there's that energy of, oi, the stir of it, and going around it instead, not wanting to deal with it, putting their feelers out as the unicorn receives everyone, pushing through the gate as the gate holder, or to get there first, but the unicorn and the dolphin are untouched, with the Midas touch of high vibe and friendliness, as the crocodile cuts off their nose to spite their face, or just can't smell a thing, or lost their scent, as the buck stops here. And again, there's that buck full moon on 7/3. Perhaps they got mooned at 6:29, right? Someone's butt in their face. So as the mouse hides in the dark, and they don't have dark energy, but there's no lights on, but with great clear little energy here, and the peacock is just looking at the croc like they're a bit crazy, and the hummingbird is clearing the air in line and whispering in the peacock's ear, who's feeling whole inside and out with high vibes all around them. So there's this energy of people waiting in line. With 6:33, the lovers and the Christ vibration, or that Christ consciousness, the bridge, the rainbow bridge. The wise owl is patient with red-hot elk behind them, and whale, who's needing a lifeline, as the elk is exhausting them. Apparently the elk is just hungry, and is usually a great guy, but stuck with their parents or elders tonight, and while trying to whisper something to the peacock in front of them. And what's taking so long? Is croc causing problems again, and afraid to cross? Cat got their tongue? Or has a cold and can't smell a thing? Or just, I was just getting something about Mary, or just something stupid again, and then none of us will get in. So the line is, they're getting mad because the croc is holding everything up. Those crusty crocs again. So this is again the dark energies trying to bust through the seals of the free will planet. At 6:38 is the lovers and the Queen of Cups, with the underlying energy of the Page of Wands reversed in the present, getting tired of waiting for their ship to come in, keeping to themselves for peace of mind. I was just getting pierce of mind. With the Six of Cups upright, soulmate, and the Emperor reversed, who may be driving them crazy. Oh my God. And the generation gap here. So they are soulmates, but they're driving each other nuts. The Emperor and this Page of Cups both reversed. The Emperor may be napping or in a rest home, or with dementia, or confused with too many choices and seeing things perhaps, or praying for the one, or that ticket, defenseless to the crowds, unhappy and dissatisfied with the injustice of trying to recover, or just get back in after coming out. Like, you know how when you go to an event or a game or something like that, you know, once you go out, you can't get back in. Or losing their place in line, perhaps someone had to go to the bathroom. With the Knight of Cups reversed, the High Priestess trying really hard to stay patient and quiet, with the Knight of Cups reversed, whining, but she may need to leave or at least take a walk, or get someone to tell them to take a hike. With Aries, Aquarius, Libra all reversed, and Pisces upright here, ready to walk away into that good night. As the Six of Wands upright comes out with good news for the Knight of Wands, or fiery Pisces, or Virgo and fiery Taurus, or Hierophant, with the King of Pentacles reversed, Magician, or Virgo, or Gemini Nine of Swords, who's worried about what have I done, investing in all that recovery to get over loss and regret of the Nine of Pentacles Sovereign, or just to become single, or spending a lot on the Nine of Pentacles Sovereign, or independent child or partner, and the Queen of Wands, for them to just drop the ball or drop the act when they have to deal with the Nine of Wands, wounded warrior on guard. And again, it's like investing in your kids or something, and then all of a sudden, just to, you know, once it comes down to them actually doing it and they have to face this wounded warrior, you know, they just drop the ball. Or this could be an impatient bouncer or impatient Empress reversed with a really bad temper, between the Nine of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Wands upright, and the Queen of Cups upright with the Knight of Swords upright, or with a message or package to deliver, working overtime, or just not working out, having too much to do, with the Queen of Cups upright and the Knight of Swords upright, between the Empress reversed and ex-King of Swords reversed, or Gemini reversed, or Aquarius reversed in the turnstile, or Ticketmaster, or Libra schooling the golden goose while distributing passion projects over here and money and time over there. So it's again like doing multiple things at once. You know, like someone taking tickets, you know, everyone's coming at them from all sides. So at 657 is the Lovers and the Three of Swords, and the air signs who are really negative about coming together here, swallowing their pride or at least answering the call to action, or reunion between Aquarius and Capricorn, both reversed here, or to detox after the war or virus, laying down of swords with an invite or opportunity to learn, the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords in a traffic jam or accident, but clear right after that, or breaking up, unclear, or no reception with the Knight of Pentacles, unable to hear, and healing, forgiving, or apologizing to Twin Flame, or the rain that is stopped here, so now they can get on the boat or get through the toll or bridge without a fight or struggle or any major works. With the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community with dysfunction or loss, and disillusioned with their small offer or unwillingness to at least pay the tolls as a token of kindness, or in a funeral procession and traffic is nuts, or trying to visit the church or nursing home or gym on the way home at night and late, knowing the Ten of Cups reversed will be unhappy or pissed with them, or when tired of the Ten of Pentacles reversed, the Dark Knight or Scorpion goes to the other place, or perhaps work at night, or with Cancer to create, just to then have to deal with the Ten of Cups reversed family, or end of an emotional cycle, or both families are miserable, or pissed off with crazy kids or pets, or egos out of control, in need of sun or vacation, or burnt or fried, going crazy, trapped and clingy, or my, oh my, or Leo reversed and Virgo reversed with anxiety and holding on or saving, and triggered in a breakup, or overwhelmed by a home or celebration, spending, or Twin Flame welcoming committee and not open to it, but the Queen of Pentacles upright is free with a loyal friend in a leap to awaken, with Aries, Pisces, or Aries upright, Pisces or Capricorn reversed, or doing a bit of a jig here, or shocked just when they thought they were done paying out, they get attacked by someone's dog, or did they sick them on you, or did they do that on purpose, or did the pet get loose but now it's all okay, someone caught them, or someone thought they'd get away with it, whether it's a pet, a child, or Leo energy, who did their job by scaring them away in a heated exchange with a painful end, or trying to soothe their pain at 717, or she runs away as soon as the pet, child, or Leo comes out, not understanding why they don't wait to pay and then hunt. Or then actually it's coming up as why they don't want to pay or play, and then somebody's hurt by that, and then feeling defeated or dealing with a pain in the ass is what they're feeling. So at 720, which is the Chariot and the Judgment or wake-up call, and the energy of that boomerang or the key, and 7-2 is July 2nd coming up, as well as the 72 by 72 of the 144. The Page of Cups upright here is sweet, innocent, and in the dark. The King of Wands upright is the peacock, seeing them struggling, with the crocodile, unable to get around it, with the world upside down, or halfway around the world, or Divine Feminine in 5D, trying to whisper to the King of Wands what to do for the Page of Cups in crossing that bridge when they come to it, while they're away. So again, you know, perhaps a father taking over the kid stuff that he doesn't normally do, but she's just a phone call away, or perhaps the father must take the role of both parents, as the world must now revolve around them and not the other way. As someone is away, but just a thought or phone call away, or right next door, there's help, or perhaps a painful learning process, or the need to wait in line, or waiting for a flight, dealing with drama, or after a sudden event with the King of Cups upright, or separation process with a world between the King of Cups and the Page of Cups, who are both upright. But it looks like the King of Wands has to watch the Page of Cups, which he may not be used to doing. Perhaps Pisces and Scorpio are having to put down a pet. I'm sorry if that's the case for somebody. Or just take them to their first pet visit or spa visit. Or the King of Wands upright and the King of Cups upright are worlds apart. But Pisces, or this Page of Cups, is a buffering between them at 7:30, which is the Chariot and the Union, or the home and the car. All right, so then I pulled a few cards in this message here. Okay, so we have the Lenormand and Kipper at the top, they're combined, and then my Fortunes deck, then the Wild Unknown, and then the Rider deck. Same setup there, okay? And the numbers at the end were coming up as 2213 and 33168. And so in the middle was 13331. So again, the pillars with 333 in the middle as opposed to 777. And again, the three keys of the sevens. And then before was the 22 of the Fool and taking the leap. And on the other side is the 68 of the Page of Pentacles, the student of life. The Fool's transition to stand up to the Tower and dance, or sudden events. 2 and the World, like 2 against the world, but not against them, with the world. And the 333 of the Rose, and the sudden strength of the Fool's leap, of that 333 of the ROS, right, the Christos Sophia, the leap to the Page of Pentacles and the student of life. With the underlying energies of toil and labor, the 5 is celebration, and the toil and labor is the 38 of the Queen of Cups. The Lamb, and the 6 of Wands reversed, 32, again, the petals of the rose. The Queen of Cups working hard to be free, to celebrate, open gifts perhaps, and change, or charge. The innocent target, or on the lamb, perhaps with a bad reputation and in need of attention, but under the radar. The underlying energy of the 2 of Cups, needing direction. The 14 of Patience with message of concern, and the 39 Knight of Cups with the community, but the false person and the masked tango with the 29 of the 3 of Wands and the Ace of Swords, of the loving lady with the truth and a rose, cracking the whip with the Page of Pentacles and aligning with justice. The 20 of the wake-up call of judgment, and to imprison and release of a public nature. So again, that energy of being released in public, or releasing in public, or being imprisoned by public, and that can just be allergies as well. The 27 of the Ace of Wands, of risky, passionate letter to the Queen of Cups, perhaps at the sewing factory, with Sagittarius, Leo, Libra, and Aquarius here. And perhaps her job is just, working really hard, weaving the threads together, or untangling the quantum entanglement field. So the blissful, abundant cruise here, with the mother energy, the 3, the power lady present to the truth, with 11 and 777. So again, we had the 1 and 1 with 333 in the middle, and now we have 1 1 with the 777 of sudden wealth and the full house. The Queen of Cups and the Empress present to justice, of Taurus and Libra, the cruiser and the gambler, and the power lady with the truth between. The 31 of bad health and the 25 of the Knight of Wands and high honors, and perhaps clearing out the family tree with synchronicities. The Star of 29, the Phoenix 25, Judgment 14, and Celebration 5 at 10:59, and the present, the being present to serious gifts, as we're in the serious alignment of Lionsgate, and the Knight of Wands Phoenix that's rising after crash and burn. The patient, or being patient in opening to a page, or innocent one, ready for change and gifts that it brings, and the Delta Dawn coming up there as well. The 23 of the owl, the wise owl, and this year 2023 of great wisdom to be found. The 15 of the key to the shadow is to let go of it. The 8 of the dragonfly, the dance of 2 as 1, and then the compass of Rosa with NSEW is coming up, and 32 intermediate states, and that's literally the compass of Rosa, which the 32 here was where it was coming up as the same number of the petals in a rose. and the N, the capital N, equaling the fleur de lis in the Saint, is it Sulpice or Sulpice? The Parisian meridian that passes through the observatory at Luxembourg Gardens and past the Louvre. The red line, oh, it was just the picture I was looking at. They had a red line, which is the scientific line, and then the yellow line right next to it, which is the spiritual line. The energy of Rosslyn with 5 pointed stars and 5 pointed roses all over Rosslyn Chapel. And again, that plate that was in the movie of Arago with the north and south symbols on it, which actually are distributed through the area in the Rose Line in Paris. From the Palace Royal Gardens to the Pyramid of the Louvre. And the latitude and longitudes were coming up here, and I didn't realize that the longitudinal symbol is the lambda, the L, and the latitude symbol is the pi, or the phi rather, not the pi. And there's that lambda leap energy with the circle, and then the circle of the Celtic cross. The prime meridian of Greenwich, London, and Paris is actually 2 degrees off. It's not 0 point longitudinal, but London is Greenwich. That's where, you know, the main time is set. But Luz had come up May 14th, and I told you about that. And Luz is just south. It's near the border of Spain, below Toulouse, and it's right outside of Lourdes. So Luz was coming up again because Luz is right on that 0 point longitudinal line in France. And so is Mohammedia, which is 35, 35, and 0 degrees longitudinal in Africa. So both of those were coming up here. And Luz is also the name for the unbreakable bone in your body. So whether that's the atlas bone or the coccyx bone is argued upon. But the energy for me is atlas with the axis, which is Hercules, right? The 2 mountains working together. And of course the snake, the coccyx represents the snake's head unraveled and then unraveling when it gets to the crown. The birth of the 4 and the 17 of love, the 1 of abundance here as the Empress of Star, and the birth of love, of one for all and all for one. Remember the 14, or the angelic realms, is the all, A-L-L, and then the whole maker of the Holy Grail, right? The God Rail, which is the hole, and then the tunnel, the etheric tunnel of the Stargate. The underlying energy of the fox and the dragonfly came up here. And the buffalo, the otter, and the lamb. And the lamb of longitude, of longitude. Oh, the lambda of longitude. Okay, so L is the longitudinal symbol. So the digamma F and the heartbeat coming up here again. And again, referencing Lin, which is the lightning up, and then the water falling down, and then coming out into the evening out, as in my name, Evelyn, the eve of Lin. The evening out of the spike up, and then the spike down. In the animal cards here, Dr. Buff was also coming up in overtime of the lamb, but was also coming up as LA and Mary's Bath. And LA is the angels of Mary's Bath, and that's the female alchemist. Warren Buffett was also coming up, or Doctor to Buffalo, Doctor to the Stars kind of energy, with the otter and the lamb, and Dr. Both, and ambulance energy coming up right there. And that Bothwell energy could be coming up too from Scotland. So remember the rose line is considered the dragon line of 0.0 degrees longitude, but the dragon line is also the north and south node of the moon. And again, the energy of Luz, of that bone that's indestructible. The heart lightening up, and then the water falling down. And And then moving on with the cards was the black egg of the throat chakra and the owl. The zebra being the key to the full house. The lion and the dragonfly. So here we have as the pillars the lamb and the lion with the wise zebra between. And again, that can reference the children as your extensions being the pillars holding your place while you become the bridge. So it's like your parents were holding the bridge when you first started out. And then as parents pass away, you become the bridge holders so that your kids can then come up behind you and be the pillars holding it for you. Very interesting the way that's just coming up now. And again, your children being the extensions of you. The phoenix rising, the crow on guard, the hawk clearing and soaring as the moth to the flame, or the moth to the crow. The gate holder of the grounder and the flyer, right? The unicorn comes up as the 5D gate holder, and the crow comes up as the 3D gate holder, the two sides of the bridge. Of Mr. Ed and the cobra's head, where birds are busy clearing space, as the horse and cobra mean business here, along with the zebra. When the student is ready, the teacher comes. As the nightingale and baby's breath, the oyster and mouse and the fish out of water, with the whale, the Nam fish was coming up. And again, the fish's name. But the whale who's aging here and is struggling, taking care of all these little vulnerable ones. And then the raccoon is hiding and depressed, which is so funny because my daughter has a baby raccoon who's been stranded under a deck at work. She keeps coming home and saying, I want to bring him home. So the raccoon is hiding and depressed, with the cosmic egg crowning, on the ground awakening, the lizard sensitive to the web, as the eagle dives. And there's that eagle key again, the ea gliki, or the glyke, which means to love, and going for it. The underlying energy of the Nine of Wands reversed in surrender, and the Death card reversed of being clingy with issues at work, and the Page of Cups reversed, rejected and dissatisfied with self, and inequity of dumping emotional attachments and standing up for themselves to detox and implement a plan to be present to the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups, both reversed here at night, or Capricorn reversed with Cancer upright and being on that axis. Starting over uninspired, to move or be pushed to visit, Hermit with light or instability here. The Hermit being patient, or Virgo and Sag upright and Aries reversed. Patient with foolish behavior of the King of Swords reversed, starting a new venture but not working out, and hung out to dry, or an opportunity to take a break from work and hang out with the Ten of Cups family. As the Knight of Wands is upright, missing their soulmate, in need of truth and balance and taking a load off, to get some love without spending or without expectation. Missing the Magician or Virgo, as the Queen of Pentacles is upright. There's also withholding here and separation of Gemini and Capricorn, or Queen of Pentacles, Nine of Pentacles, and Queen of Swords, or Gemini and Virgo are Mercury energies of messengers, and the Queen of Swords not sleeping with the Page of Swords, or both are up at the same time or out in the cold, with the Empress reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed, or the two of them may be homeless, with the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community, dealing with dysfunction or loss. They could just be really sad there too, or all about the money, but there's some kind of falling here, or loss, post-war or virus, trapped with new information, with the Knight of Pentacles offering to the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands reversed, or perhaps the Knight of Pentacles is looking for work from them, but doesn't look like the Queen of Wands and King of Wands are getting along either, or maybe one's okay with it but the other one's not. The King of Wands reversed with dreams but no peace, and coming clean about a split or secret passion, and getting over a loss or regret, an energetic exchange and needing to swallow their pride, or perhaps they choked and is now broken and stressed out. With Pisces, Aquarius, Cancer, and Leo all reversed here, perhaps feeling weak in disconnect or distance, saving or holding their cards close to their chest while ending conflict with the world upside down, or feeling uncomfortable here, perhaps in a marriage, with Pisces reversed and Taurus upright, without a choice, and uncomfortable but under the radar, needing attention or feeling like a failure. As the wheel is upright, the Tower reversed, the King of Cups is upright, with Libra upright and Scorpio reversed, with the King of Cups and the King of Wands with the Truth, Libra keeping the goose in check, checkmate, as she is key, Capricorn Zebra with drama or contrast or epiphanizing, or with Scorpio reversed, as Libra, Leo, and King of Cups or unconditional love of Lionsgate, with Leo reversed Page of Wands reversed child, or a pet who's exhausting and needs a vacation or outlet or performance, perhaps juggling act, as the Lover's bliss here in not coming together, with the Emperor reversed always with something to say or on the attack. So this is someone not wanting to come together with the Emperor. Remember in the beginning we had that energy of the Page of Cups and the Emperor, who are soulmates, but they are not seeing eye to eye, and there's this big generation gap. Or Libra keeping the King of Wands, or the Empress, or Taurus in check when the Emperor reversed is around, or his sharp delivery practices here. So again, the energies of the rose line kept coming up today, and I got up today at the time of my birthday, and again there was this energy of Frosty the snowman saying happy birthday, as Frosty coming to life versus Pinocchio coming to life as ice and fire. And then Teddy pooping in between. But the energy of manifestation, moderation, forgiveness, and karmic completion was coming up. And I just pulled some tea leaves and then some cards from the Rider deck with this energy of a reset. And again, being careful about jumping from the fire into the frying pan, and Aries was all over this. I don't know if there's two people with Aries in their chart, and again, that can reference the grandfather that we were just talking about and the grandchild, or the Emperor and the Page of Cups. But there's two energies with Ram in them, right? Rooster energy, and literally the Ram coming up in the V with the rooster though too, like arrogance and boastfulness versus, and again, dangling a carrot to try to get someone to do what they don't want to do. Maybe tears in the fall. It's like using your intuition, but then tears in the fall as a wedge is created with Aries in the North Node between you and what you want, with the Ram, who may be a stubborn and or aggressive person, perhaps an older man. So again, that the generation gap coming up here as well. The Rider Waite at 1019, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, the Knight of Cups reversed, in the underlying energy, perhaps after depressed but finding peace on the road, stealing away for detox or investing in the present moment, missing the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, perhaps. As the Ten of Cups reversed is energy of taking a load off after hard physical or passionate work. The new moon was yesterday, Sunday. And remember, an acronym for Saturday night is the key, came up the other day with the word snake. And here it was coming up again because the new moon literally started at 12:37 Saturday night into Sunday. The new moon of Saturday night is key, and the snake, and again referencing the Kundalini, and now we're waxing to the buck full moon. With the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups reversed, relaxing at night, the Divine Feminine's heart investing in time, with the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups dumping all their burdens for the buck full moon. Howling dog with lobster up in arms, demanding the whole truth or taking the crown, and there's that Aries energy. At night or full moon, with Cancer truth to Pisces or Virgo, feeling badly that they took all their love and withheld their time, money, and effort or stuff. After the Empress, destined, or Taurus and Libra here, surrendering to the King of Pentacles and Ten of Pentacles family, both upright now here, perhaps the Empress is dropping her guard to the King of Pentacles to help him defend his Ten of Pentacles legacy to the enemy, even though they may not be getting along. Maybe this enemy, this could be like a relative who just got out of jail too, who you don't really want coming around. But they may have just been released or laid off, fired for laziness, or after a death or near-death experience, or issues at work or school. And the Page of Cups reversed, dissatisfied with the inequity or unfairness of a situation, and closing off to the Knight of Pentacles and Queen of Wands, who are both reversed, or vice versa. They could be closing off to the Page of Cups. Emotional attachments or dumping multiple loads and defending their territory to the King of Wands. Both dreams have been dashed, but finding peace away from risk takers or bad influences, or the ball and chain, or just peace on the road, appreciating the moment, and longing for the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups, perhaps relaxing at night while presenting the truth to the High Priestess, Higher Self, or Council to tell their troubles to, or to get that big love without spending a lot of money. At 1047, the Wheel of Fortune and finding self-satisfaction. So the dragon breath was coming up here, raising red flags after pinned, perhaps from the fire into the frying pan. It was weird too, because in a show the other night, they were dumping crabs into a pot of boiling water, which is very hard for me to watch since I don't eat fish or meat. And that one crab wasn't just dumped in, because then the crab tried to struggle and get out, and it really pulled on me. But she mentioned something as well in the show. But literally, from the fire into the frying pan, seeing one is one thing, but then feeling it is another. And the energy of the older and younger man was coming up here, and that dissension between them, and again that generation gap, building a bridge. And what did he get himself into? And then these triads were coming up of the Earth, the Moon, and the Sun, and then Venus, Mars, and Earth as the micro and macro triangles of the mercurial energy of air, and then the micro Sun, Moon, and Earth with the macro Venus, Mars, and Earth. And again, referencing that man from Mars and woman from Venus. So I reshuffled real quick just to see what would come out, and now the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups flipped the other way. And as well as the Ace of Cups had fallen on the floor, so now that was upright as well. But I reshuffled again, not knowing if those cards would come up, right? But they did. The Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups came up on the bottom again, but now upright, as the energy of the Queen of Cups and Knight of Cups offering to play with the High Priestess, which could be Pisces or Virgo energy, or peace offering on a quest to find inner peace, or having felt badly receiving her love, or knowing the Holy Grail was always sitting right there in front of them waiting to be received. And now the Knight of Cups is with the Ace of Pentacles upright, offering in a big way to take a load off their hands. Or the Five of Wands group is making an offer to the Ten of Wands reverse group, who may be unable to sustain, or a corporate takeover, or offering money for work done in the past, or services rendered already when they didn't have any cash available. Perhaps someone's now coming forward and offering that. The Ace of Pentacles during the day, and at night the Ace of Cups. The Holy Grail and the Holy Communion together makes the truth to set them free. Perhaps a bedtime story of the Holy Grail and the Holy Communion, of two toroidal fields becoming one, and an Easter egg hunt of the Celtic Neanderthal cross, or that grid point of the Neanderthals and the Anunnaki when they came together and were seated, the cross of the ROS between the C and the S, of the Celtic Scot rose line and the root of Sophia, the Royal Order of Scotland, and the blonde and red horse, the Rosslyn, the little Scots and the red horse, the rock and the stone, which is the rower of the whispering bench, in the rowboat, and the path of one. So the whispering bench of Christ consciousness and the salt of the earth, Sophia, where the salt meets the fresh river, at the whispering bench cross. And again, the cross is coming up as the stargates and the rose lines. And the Strait of Magellan came up here again too, as well as the giants of the lawn, which are the felines, and then, the giants are the Nors, and the lawns are the felines. So that was coming up as well. So the sea ROS. The rocks and the stones themselves begin to sing. And again, Hosanna, Hosanna came up the other day from Jesus Christ Superstar. The Scots of St. Clair and St. Ciaran, the Celtic son of carpenter, and the clear channel or spine. The Scots of the Isthmus, or that strip of land, as a bridge. The Rosslyn and the rod, as the Celtics coming up as the backwatering, the one who are backpedaling, the support staff. Right, the thighs and the hips coming up as the support staff, and the spine as the rod. And again, remember the psoas muscle connects the ribs to the lower legs. That's how the upper body and the lower body are connected. And the psoas that connects them. So the Suez Canal was coming up here, which in Egypt links the Mediterranean and Red Seas. And there's that rose reference again. And the whispering bench that I showed you the letter C with the magnets on it the other day too, of the magnetic ends. The Neanderthal is the neon of the snow, neon, name, never, and negative. To deny, refuse, still again, and at the same time or place. And a Swedish name. The NEA, which is also Northeast Africa, or Near Earth Asteroid, or Non-Exam Assessment. And the word neant, N-E-A-N-T, is nothingness. Or I spin, I weave, I entwine. Neon corpse, never anchor. And ERTH in Neanderthal is earth. And then all at the end, AL, which is a lot of the prefixes on African cities as well. So literally Neanderthal is nothing and everything, or any and earth all, where all is that crimson blood red, but also everything. To speak another, and AL, which is to the king. To go, the lower part. The under, the heavy, the old, the stale, the writer, the flag, the nourishing and breeding, the war, whole, and entwined, or entire. The fire, eel, she, garlic, sun, alder tree, trap and trick, and pink, and almac, which means to take. So ultimately Neanderthal is coming up as nothing, earth, everything, equals Neanderthal. Nothing divine, earth, all, as the divine feminine, earth, and divine masculine. The caveman mentality with club or bat and ball, which is her roundness, her shape. And again, of the caveman, the Neanderthal. But again, it's like without the divine connection, right? So we are part Neanderthal, right? We are the seeded Neanderthals that became the humans with the seeded energy of the Anunnaki. So at 12 noon here is the whole truth of the crown in the crossroads of the Neanderthal and the Anunnaki, of the N of Neanderthal and the A of the Anunnaki, and was coming up as the man and his penis, or Christ and his rocket ship. The ark to seed, the stargate of the hybrids, the high bride or Bridget, as the bride takes the cake. In the heated exchange, in the petri dish, but I was getting petri with IE, as in pie tree dish, the P-I-E-T-R-A means stone or rock again, the story, the stage, and get this, the altitudinal zone, as I was just talking about the longitudes. The petri dish is that shallow glass dish, and starting over with the Ace of Wands reversed, in need, and again, that energy of putting a seed in a dish to grow it, and a need for inspiration, growth, and creativity, in a move, a visit, or destabilizing situation, with the hermit's light, or the scientist and his experiment with the angels. And again, that reference of Enki and the Anunnaki. The hermit and the angel, the wise one and patience, within a higher love, of the hermit on snow here, and the angel walking on water, tippy-toeing in, or dipping their toes in, and then I was getting mitosis again, the stories of mitosis, and becoming so full of light that you must procreate like the gremlins, just popping them out, little pieces of oneself, of Pisces, Cancer, Virgo, and Sagittarius here, with 14 cards in all in this pyramid I had dealt, with 3 aces up and the Ace of Wands reversed, all trumps up, which trump is major arcana, the daughter moon and the sun light, the angels of a higher love, the Queen of Cups, and Knight of Cups both upright here, and just how lucky I am. The energy of Rosslyn, the dragon in Scotland, associated with his Celtic goddess bride, her dragon line, and his Celtic cross of the rose and fleur de lis. So again, you're always going to come back to both having both, right? The masculine can be the vertical, masculine can be the horizontal, the feminine can be the vertical and the horizontal. There are both aspects in all things. As the nodes come up as the north and south node of the moon, crossing the moon and the earth, as well as the energy of the meridian, the dragon line of the rose line. But again, the fleur de lis coming up. So the reason why the fleur de lis comes up, and this is the last thing before I get to the quick read on the table, is 155.30, which is the truth that will set you free in union, and it was just 33. So I put this out for you because this is the energy that comes up, all right? So what was coming up in the read was the hips, okay, and the spine. And of course, this is the fleur de lis, and this is the flame of the spine, the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. And again, the whispering bench of the two C's, right? The parentheses, the pairing of the C's and the parentheses. But this is also the same as what I show you with the double diamond stars, the same thing. The masculine and feminine next to each other, side by side, in their own eights. And then here's the infinity that when they come together, they create that Star of Bethlehem. Divine feminine here, and divine feminine's also here, though. They both are on the vertical and horizontal lines. And we have the, again, the lower half of the body is the earth and the hips, the psoas bridge, to the upper half, or the flame in the angelic realms. And the energy of Mr. Ed and the horizon of the horse, the horizon, right, Mary Magdalene, and Mrs. Ed, again, the pillars. The rainbow Metatron is the rainbow, beneath Michael's wings, right, the magnetic and the electric. So they come together in all the same ways. And again, the energy of Bridget, the bride, and her umbrella, right? The suspension bridge and the dome or the umbrella. And then the energy of all the different planetary chakra systems. And then being at the middle here, the psoas canal that connects the upper and lower body. And again, the UK being the heart chakra system of the earth. And then the other chakra systems up here and below. And again, the rose line of the flowering, what did I write there? Oh, the rose line is the flowering and the spiraling. Right after it goes up, then the petals go out, right? The rose line flowering and spiraling, which is the reference to the heart as well. And again, the horizontal line of the rose hips, of the feminine hips. And then the tunneling of the masculine being very, with the blinders on like a horse, only being able to see straight in front of them. That energy of Atlas at the top and Hercules, so his and hers, right? The Atlas, weight of the world, and then the Hercules support system. And again, the dragon line of the head and the tail, and the channeling here of the flame, the vertical, pillar, and horizontal. And again, the Star of Bethlehem, the double diamond, and supernova event. These are both the same picture, just drawn in different ways, okay? The masculine, feminine, and the fleur de lis, all right? They all come out the same. Just wanted to show you that so you understand how to pull all the energies together. So now the read on the table is a real quick one. It won't be too long. I know that was a lot to take in, but it was really expanding on that roseline energy. And don't forget about the heartbeat. All right, so this is the read on the table. So here, I did a quick read here. That was part of the message I just came out with when the Knight of Cups and Queen of Cups were then upright in the underlying energy. I just wanted you to see that pyramid because it's really nice energy with all four aces there. And then here's the read on the table for the twin flames. Okay, so the SIRIAN Starseed deck, the mini rider WAITE for the clarifiers. And it's pretty quick, so let's get going with that. This was done on the 17th at 5:40. I cut the deck, and at 5:50 I finished clarifying with the higher self as the major arcana, Luna, and the strength card. Before the reed Ascension, or the world came up, was Starseed, which is the Fool. There were 2 swords, 1 cup, 1 pentacle, and 4 wands, which is 21 and 14. Again, the 7's coming up with the 14 and 21. Remember, we're moving up an octave to the 24 of Omega and Enlightenment. The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Wands were the main players in the reed, along with the 9 of Swords and the 9 of Cups on either end. And before the reed was the Knight of Swords. We had triple ones here, 2 3s and 2 9s. The 33 of the Christ vibration and the bridge, and the 99 of the compassion, of that really high vibration, of endings, of course, as well, with the 9s, the all for one and one for all. And again, 3 1s, though, as we had 3 aces in the cards I just showed you, where the Ace of Wands was the only one reversed, which was the 4th wand. You had all, I mean, not 4th wand, but 4 aces. All 4 of them were in that pyramid that I just showed you. So the code line, there were no numbers in the code line there. And just the messages that came up from the code line here were a total weight of the High Road and the Knight of Wands, and the high DNA of the Queen of Cups and her life essence, and the energy of the significant figure, or the sforzando in music, like that attack of flames, a twin target heart rate of the Knight of Wands with a slow burn, the high DNA energy of the Queen of Cups as the sap, the self, the seat of the digamma flames, the twin flames. But again, that 3rd flame being added right there. A timeout of the top dog and 2 U's, so again, source energy and the twins, through hole, reflow of soldering, or perhaps a total hip replacement for someone, as the Knight of Wands waves to the Queen of Cups, and selves reflect in the flame. All the way, the High Road, the Knight of Wands with that slow burn, and the high Queen of Cups with her essence of significant, that's significant for flames. The Sophia key of F coming up here as the digamma and the torch fire of that 3rd flame of source energy here, right, to light your fire. The Knight of Swords, the 9 of Swords is the first card in the underlying energy below the mini cards. And below that is the Ace of Cups, Ascension reverse, the Knight of Swords upright, the Starseed card reverse, which is the Fool, and the 10 of Cups upright. And the Queen of Swords was in there too. She was below that 9 of Swords. So she receives a big love offer from the 5D world, with the Knight of Swords sending 5D messages, and perhaps falling on their face or embarrass themselves in front of the 10 of Cups family, and hiding in the woods or underground to save face, as the Page of Cups is rising above issues at work with temptation, addiction, or Capricorn waving, as the High Priestess is quiet in the midst of drama or sudden events, a dream come true and or healed and shining their light, with Pisces, Aries, and Scorpio reversed, Capricorn, Pisces, and Aquarius upright. The Queen of Swords receives love through the need to ascend, with the Knight of Swords lacking faith or falling from the 10 of Cups' grace. Perhaps hiding from them, or just feeling stressed out, suffering in silence, or dealing with a sister, or just not sleeping well. As perhaps there's some boredom here, grounding, integrating, and mastering, receiving love while in separation, with the Lover Knight of Swords upright, motoring or uttering, speaking the hand of Gabriel, and the central sun, with Mercury and Ether charged with delivery of 3 blind mice, see how they run, the lovers who can't find themselves, despite the messengers of truth, constant deliverance, pulling swords out of the clouds 3 at a time, orchestrating through the right hand or the energy point. Their boat or engine just keeps running. Holy cow and Excalibur hand, bored of disappointment and little love from Lover or Gemini, Knight of Swords, as the 10 of Cups is hiding from the Knight of Swords. And the recent past here is the Ace of Pentacles upright, with the Queen of Swords speaking through disconnect or distance of the inequity, or continues to tell the whole truth to those who would be present, working to align, getting their ducks in a row to receive the Ace of Cups from the King of Pentacles, ending conflict and blocking the 5 of Pentacles, or those out in the cold or perhaps of low vibration, not wanting to be affected by it, or frustrated with those in exile, deceiving the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and the foundation of the Two of Swords reversed, no longer comfortably numb, as the Page of Swords is moving or visiting, with the Knight of Pentacles helping to come together or find joy, with new information to provide clarity, perhaps about instability, and helping to come together, as the central energy is the higher self, the clairvoyant, with the Page of Wands reversed, and perhaps Saggy, Queen of Wands reversed, who may be patient, dropping the facade or the ball, with the King of Wands reversed, perhaps with his back turned to her, as the Queen of Pentacles reversed continues beneath the surface. The King of Cups is manifesting, but uncomfortable dealing with emotions, and it looks like the Queen of Wands and King of Wands are breaking up the act, as the King of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Pentacles are reversed, are frustrated and deceptive with each other. Challenged by the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Wands upright, with the Six of Cups, Death, and the Nine of Swords, is the Knight of Wands reversed, leaving the Six of Cups upright to go to save the day, while Dark Knight or the Queen of Cups reversed Scorpio cries or is stressed out, suffering in silence, or sister, or Sagittarius and Scorpio together but never get to see each other or do it all for the kids. And now crowning is Luna or the Moon reversed, as the new moon approaches, the Hermits reversed, losing their mind or coming out with lots of messages in a wake-up call, with Cancer and Virgo both reversed and Aquarius upright here, a big offering to the King of Swords with their hands tied, or do they have a hostage and boldly moving, or Cancer in need of vacation or sun or drained, with things not in their favor, letting go to fix or make amends, with the Queen of Cups reversed, or Cancer, King of Swords upright, with Leo and Libra in their chart, or people around them, or that's the Queen of Cups reversed, without peace or burdened by new information to invest in the 5D world, or Pisces reversed now that the worst is over, and soon here is the Seven of Wands reversed, defenseless to the Hierophant ending the war, with Justice upright and the Emperor reversed, or the Church one with State, or Taurus ends the fight with Libra upright and Aries reversed, or Taurus North Node connecting to Libra upright and Aries reversed that's about to flip over to Aries in the North Node, July 17th, 18th, around there. At 6:47, the Lovers and that sweet spot of heart to crown and seeing synchronicities, or the Emperor reversed does not have a defense or representation, perhaps feeling weak and needing courage to choose an option and move on, to the Knight of Cups reversed, who may be perhaps jealous or rejecting them or just in a bad mood, as the Twin Flames and the Three of Wands are present to flames, present in the moment and their gifts. After falling into some dissatisfaction with self, the Page of Pentacles reversed may be comparing themselves to the Nine of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles reversed with the Ten of Cups upright, the Montagues versus the Capulets, and stealing from them or leaving them hung out to dry, dumping multiple loads or emotional attachments, confusion and then feeling sad, or the Knight of Wands upright with a slow burn and the candle lit regretful but with mood lighting, the block here being weakness or the need for courage or strength, a defense of the Knight of Cups reversed and or the wounded warrior who's on guard and defensive. The Ace of Wands is reversed here with the Empress reversed, in need of inspiration or their world upside down despite the fact that the worst is now over, with Pisces and Taurus both reversed at the new moon, in need of a boost, feeling dissatisfied or lonely, and coming together with the Hermit coming out of exile or the Mary Magdalene cave and coming downstairs. Or perhaps a sore loser here, having to come together in the Mary Magdalene cave out in the cold, just to repeat steps again, with crazy old man perhaps, at 6:58, the Lovers and the Four of Swords, or perhaps sleeping together. The Suffering in Silence with clarity of the Gift and the Knight of Wands, with groundbreaking new start, with higher self, and challenged by the Queen of Cups reversed without an excuse, or the need for strength at the new moon. New for a kickstart, for self-satisfaction and a reunion. In Suffering in Silence, or dealing with a sister, or just not sleeping well and offering a new life, or paying for information from the higher self, or that could be paying for a psychic read. And the challenge being the Queen of Cups reversed with Cancer in their chart, or present with gifts, and no need for an excuse, with the Knight of Wands upright in need of the courage when frustrated and dissatisfied with themselves. The underlying energy of celebration and gifts, and then the Judgment with a proposal of the Mountain and the Lion, of birth, and then to beware as well. Be careful, use your discernment. And the Lovers with the Snake and the Kundalini there, and the Marriage, and huge transformation with the number 32, which again is the petals of the rose. The Hierophant mastering the hidden house, opening to a page for a higher perspective, with new passion or romantic opportunity to climb the mountain in a leap to sudden event and or Lion's Gate. Midway in the story, or wanting to scream from a mountaintop, as the 4 and the 3 of birth and beware, careful who to trust. In this lover's romance, be true to yourself. With the 28 and 20 of the twin flame snake, rising, just be careful of the wake-up call to unconditional love, of marriage, and the journey of transformation in breaking the chains. At 8:29 of the Dance and the 3 of Wands, being present in the moment. Every moment. So I think that was enough. So I'm just going to pull you an energy deck card and then we'll be set. It's 3:45 on the clock, 3D45D, and 2:11:02 on this clock, which is the alignment in the middle of the 2 and the 2, which could reference the divine feminine, the cue of conception as well, or 2 and 2 coming together to align in the middle of justice, truth, and balance, or Libra energy, and the 2s would be Pisces, and 11 is written 11-2. It's all about that feminine energy there. And then the 7 comes out, the community. So there's the energy of the community, and again, this energy of proms and weddings, the 7 of the key, of the lambda leap, the boomerang, not the lambda leap, but the boomerang and the key and the gamma ray there, and the 3, and there's that upside down triangle again of the divine feminine here. And the bottom of the deck is the 50 of the angel of strength, and again, that lioness energy here of the matriarch of the family, the 10 of cups. And the 10 of cups were upright, but I think the 10 of pentacles was reversed. Is that correct? Anyway, there's this energy of, the matriarch taking care of the younger women here, going to all of these events. And then this card wants to come out too, of the 44, which is her harvest, Hercules. And also the 4 of cups of grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love from others. And here's the woman holding a heart. And then again, perhaps feeling left out from the 3 socializing and having fun with each other. That odd man out, the 4th. And again, the underlying energy of the angel of strength. Okay. So the emotional fulfillment of the family after a storm, because the storm came up prior to that. After the storm warning was strength. And the emotional fulfillment. We have the 37 under that too, of the 3rd chakra, of confidence after healing a heart. And the storm warning of having to face the strong female here. And then dealing with a lot of young people here, it seems like, and just lots of parties and stuff like that. The community. And perhaps the woman holding a heart for the community. Remember, the 44 came up as the pillars as well yesterday, or the day before. And the 4-4 can represent the pillars with the twin flames in the middle of the way it was coming up, but also can represent 2 masculines on either side, as 2 emperors on either side, with the 2 peas in a pod in the middle. The powers that be kind of trying to control or make their way in again. So again, in the middle here is that Mars energy of Aries coming into power. And here's the feminine empress over here, along with the lion energy over here of Leo and egos at play. So it's going to be interesting what happens as, because we're already going to be feeling the energy of Aries moving into the North Node. And Aries leaps first, they don't think, they just leap. And it's fire, so they're highly energized here. It's very different from Taurus, which, is very stubborn and is in it for the long haul. And it's 2:14 on the clock, 24, which is Valentine's Day, and 24. Rise and be love, you guys. Remember water, sleep, joy in nature, and to breathe. Inspire and aspire. And just be you. Rising with love.